I found webcam footage of my home online, but something was really wrong with it. I first heard about these webcam streams a few years ago while watching one of those creepy things on the internet videos on YouTube. The first one I heard of is probably one of the most popular sites, ChipChan. Of course, having knowledge of this only sparked my curiosity, so I ended up doing a bit of Googling until I managed to stumble upon a few webcam live streams. I just want to say that, for the record, I'm not obsessed with these or anything. To be honest, I find them more creepy than I do interesting, and I never watch more than a few seconds. It's just one of those things that draw your attention to it, you know? I quickly found out that there were basically two different types of webcam footage. One where the owners were aware that they were being watched, and one where they didn't. I stuck to watching ones where the person or people involved were aware of an audience. And it started off with me watching a couple of minutes of weird footage a day, or just whenever I got bored or needed a break. I watched the webcam for the Northern Lights a few times and jumped from a few less interesting ones. This morning, I was working on a final paper for one of my online classes when I decided that I needed a break. There's only so much you can write about world literature before you inevitably need to distract yourself for a bit. Since the paper isn't due until tomorrow night, I figured at least I had a few hours to kill. First, I started by browsing YouTube, but I found nothing that sparked my interest, so I decided to hit the webcams next. I browsed through a few sites, clicking on a few, and then exited the feed in a matter of seconds. Like most things, I was starting to get tired of this. I needed a new pastime. I decided to skim through a few more feeds until something further down the page caught my eye. This feed was titled 318S-Oblivion, and the reason why it caught my eye was because of a painting that was visible off to the side of the screen. It was my painting, which was currently hanging in my bedroom. In fact, when I clicked on the feed, I realized that it was, in fact, my bedroom. I wasn't in it, of course. Currently, I was sitting in my kitchen. I was a little bit confused at first, because the only webcam that was in my home was the one on my laptop, which I had with me. I stared at the feed on my screen, trying to figure out where the camera was located in my bedroom. It seemed to be off to the left of the bed, where the window was. As I was about to go up to investigate, the footage cut to black, before settling back in on a different picture. Now, my living room was on the screen. I glanced around the frame, confirming that it was my living room. This time, it seemed like the camera was placed higher up, like in the corner of the ceiling. Again, after a bit, the screen glitched before settling on the next room, the kitchen. This view wasn't coming from my laptop either. In fact, it was coming from somewhere off to the right side of the room. I slowly glanced in that direction, but there was only a wall there. I looked back at the feed, and that's when I noticed something strange. I was in this room, obviously, but the me on the screen wasn't doing the same thing I was doing. In the footage, I was standing in front of the stove, stirring a pot of something. I studied the screen and noticed that I was even wearing different clothing. I kept glancing from my laptop to my kitchen. What was going on here? Was this some kind of prank? I scrolled down a bit to see the timestamp. Tuesday, May 7th, 2019, 1:23:45 p.m. The screen changed rooms again, but I was too distracted. How was it possible that I was watching a webcam feed from the future? I refreshed the page a few times, but the time remained the same. Tomorrow at 1:23 p.m. The last time I refreshed it, I saw the screen change to footage of the back door. I watched as 3 people, dressed in black with ski masks over their faces, opened the door and went into the house. Each one of them waving to the camera as they broke into the house. The footage switched once again to me in the kitchen. I watched as the people came from behind me. One of them hit me in the head with something, while another moved the pan from the stove, and together they shoved my face into the burner. I watched myself struggle as they appeared to laugh. Then, they pulled my face back. Due to the angle of the footage, I wasn't able to see the result of the burning, which I was glad for. I kept watching though, as they proceeded to take turns stabbing me on the screen. After a while, I fell limp, and they let me collapse on the floor. I watched as one of them started to grab me by the arms, and the second one grabbed my legs, while the third one walked right up to the camera. I watched as he reached for something out of frame. He appeared to pull something out of his pocket, a notebook. He flipped through the pages, showing me writing on each one. This was when I finally noticed that the feed had no volume. We know you watch. There's no way to stop. We are coming. Time to die. After the last one, the camera feed turned off. I grabbed some stuff to take with me, including some clothing, cash, and some snacks. I called an Uber, and I'm currently on my way to a motel. I'm going to leave my phone in this Uber, in case I'm being tracked or something. I'll try to buy another cheap phone for updates, but there's no guarantee on that. I don't want to spend all my money so fast. I'm not sure if running away will work, but I have to try. I don't want to die. Update, 6 p.m. I'm going to try to be as vague as possible. I've gone somewhere where I think it would be very difficult to find me, and I have taken some of your advice. I don't really want to reveal more about how I got where I am, or how I'm posting this update for that matter. For a while I thought I was being followed, but I think I might have lost them. We'll update later, if possible. Update, Tuesday, 10:51. Have been moving a lot. Found a place to stay, but left soon after. If those of you saying, "This is my destiny," are right, then I have less than 3 hours left. Gonna keep moving. This is Kinetic Symphony. If you've enjoyed this narrated story, please subscribe and like the video to help me grow. Thank you.